I've been talking about the personal computer replacement cycle for several quarters now, and looking at companies like Micron and Intel and others, they've been talking about it as well, expecting a huge refresh cycle. In fact, in the latest quarterly update to Wall Street investors, Micron talked about the PC refreshment cycle, the replacement cycle, and what they expect from that, what's going on with that. And I wanted to elaborate on that as well as other key product categories for Micron and the industry expectations for those categories, because it doesn't only matter for Micron technology, right? This PC refreshment cycle matters for a lot of stocks that I'm following that you're probably also keeping an eye on, including AMD, Nvidia, Intel, etc., right? They all depend on the personal computer replacement cycle or the personal computer sales industry to some degree, right? Some more than others, but they all matter. So these markets that I'm going to talk about here, as in the viewpoint from Micron, it's going to matter for a lot of companies, not just Micron. So let's take a look.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.
All right, so Micron Technology management team told investors at their conference call Wednesday, December 18th, 2024, that the PC refreshment cycle is unfolding more gradually, and we expect PC unit volume growth to be flat-ish in calendar 2024, slightly below our prior expectations. So if you didn't know their prior expectations, they had forecasted low single-digit growth for PC sales in 2024. Turns out PC sales are going to be relatively flat in 2024, meaning zero growth, zero decline, zero growth, relatively flat. And that's bad news for companies like Micron Technology. That's partly the reason why the stock price sold off following the earnings release. And this is also bad news for companies like AMD, which depend on PC sales for their processors and their GPUs. It's also bad news for Intel, which relies significantly in this category. So this PC refresh cycle, which there was indications from several industry participants, including Micron, Intel, and others, they were forecasting low to mid single digit growth. When you look at, all of these companies that I'm following, AMD, Intel, Micron, etc., they had various viewpoints ranging from low single digit growth to mid single digit growth for PC sales in 2024. Turns out almost everyone overestimated the industry for 2024, including myself. Based on what I was expecting, based on the inputs that I was receiving from all of these participants and the companies I was following, I thought that by the second half of this year, we would start to see a recovery in PC sales, especially given how 2023 and 2022 were so limited in sales. They weren't robust years in PC sales. So you're comparing against a very poor year and you still weren't able to demonstrate growth. I'm talking about the PC industry. So, and the reason why most industry participants were expecting this rebound is because so many computers were purchased in 2020 and 2021. And so starting in 2024, let's say mid 2024, those computers that were bought in 2020 are now 4 years old, right? And if you're working professionally with computers, for example, myself, I couldn't use a 4-year-old PC. It wouldn't be sufficient for my needs. And so I would need to upgrade. And I know there's many others like myself that are using personal computers for work. And depending on how heavily you're using it, a 4-year-old computer probably doesn't have the capabilities you need in today's world. And if you're not using the most up-to-date technology and your competitors are using the most up-to-date technology, then you're going to be at a disadvantage. And the cost of a personal computer is not that high compared to the output it gives you. And so all of those reasons, including that, artificial intelligence, These newer PCs that are starting to come out in 2024 are enhanced with AI. There was forecast that the growth would be much better, but it's not. And so now the company's looking to 2025 and talking about AI PCs will require additional DRAM content with a minimum of 16 gigabytes of RAM expected for an entry-level PC and 24 gigabyte and above for the higher end segments versus 12 gigabytes for the average PC last year. So the average PC last year was only 12 gigabytes. Moving ahead, 2025 and beyond, I wouldn't be surprised if the average PC is somewhere between 16 and 24 at about 18 gigabytes, because buyers of personal computers are going to want those AI enhancements. They're going to want to future-proof their computers for at least the next couple of years and get that AI capability within. So Micron now saying they expect the PC market unit growth to be in the mid-single digit percentage range next year, mid-single digit, with growth weighted towards the second half of the calendar year. Again, similar forecast to what they were saying for 2024, a little bit better because they were saying low single digit for 2024. 2025, they're saying mid-single digit, and the growth weighted towards the second half of the year. So it looks like this replacement cycle is pushed out. And that's also what I've been expecting. I was expecting the recovery to start in 2024, but I had been thinking and saying that if it doesn't happen in 2024, doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It just means it's going to happen a little bit later than I initially thought. Those computers that were purchased in 2020 and 2021, they're going to get old. They're going to need to be replaced. It's just a matter of when, not if they get replaced. And so mid-single digit expected in 2025. I wouldn't be surprised if 2026 becomes high single digits or even low double digits in 2026. The average age of a PC, remember, is 4 to 6 years old. That's the prime replacement cycle. And so if you think about the year 2026, those computers that were bought in 2020 will be 6 years old at that time. So that's about stretching it in terms of the life of the PC. Unless, of course, you're just using it for email and browsing the internet, then, of course, you can use a computer for much longer than that, right? Just for browsing and email, you can use computers from 10 years ago, as long as that they're still working. So interesting developments here for Micron and the PC market in one of the main categories that the company experienced downside here in 2024. But looking ahead, they do expect the recovery in 2025, and they expect that recovery to be weighted towards the second half of the calendar year. So now you can make these conclusions. This is the first forecast that I've seen for the PC industry in 2025 from the companies that I'm following. So now I'll look to AMD and Intel and others in the industry to give their forecasts. And I can kind of calibrate where I think the PC market will be in 2025 based on the expectations of these companies that I'm following in the industry. Hey everyone, so many of you have been asking about my investing strategy, and I'm excited to announce that I've written a book that's available for sale now that describes my 6-step investing framework for evaluating stocks. I've added the link in the description below.